This is Brindlewood Bay, part one. My name is Jason. I want to say that if you're watching this video and when it goes up, there is about 10 days left in the Brindlewood Bay Kickstarter campaign. David and I would love it if you would go pledge. We have a lot of fantastic rewards that are on there, and the Murder Mavens tier, the $90 tier, is an especially good value, and that's the one that that's the manager's special that we recommend if you're going to go back Brindlewood Bay. Let's introduce ourselves. When I call on you, please say your name, your pronouns, and anything else you would like for people to know about you. I will begin. My name is Jason. I use he, him. I am the creator of Brindlewood Bay, and I am the co-publisher of it. And I'm very excited to run our normal between group through the game. So it should be a lot of fun. Let's go to David.
My name is David. I use the pronouns he, him. I am the other publisher of Brindlewood Bay and a huge fan. And I think the only thing that I want to say is, besides that manager special, if you have just a whole bunch of extra income on the side and you want Jason to run the game for you, you should get in on that Fragrant Void special. Or if you're a fan of classic dungeon crawling experiences and you want to know what it would be like if little old ladies went to a convention themed around that, you could go to the Deep Reaver Con and have me run that for you.
All I know is if we can sell the Fragrant Void tier, I expect the four of you to cough up $8,000 at some point. So, all right, let's go over to Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I don't have $8,000. My pronouns are she, her. I love Brindlewood Bay. I had a chance to run it once last year. I was in a one-shot a couple of weeks ago for it, and I just want to play it all the time. It's so much fun, and you should absolutely back it. I'm not actually affiliated with the game other than I love it, so take it from me. You should go and back it right now. Just stop what you're doing right now and go and do it.
Exactly. Don't even bother watching this, honestly. Thank you so
No,
much.
pause this, then.
Rob.
I am Rob. I also use he, him pronouns. I am a regular player in the game of the Between, which is normally what we'd be playing at this time on this date, but we decided to do some Brindlewood Bay. I'm a backer. I have played one session of Brindlewood Bay, which for scheduling reasons, we never had a session 2. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. I'm eager to get going.
You're getting at least a session 2, so so that's good. Mads.
Hi, I'm Mads. She, her, they pronouns. It's funny, I had discovered Gauntlet Gaming by purchasing the PDF of Brindlewood Bay and never got to play it. So my first opportunity in actual play was coming into the Between. So I am very excited that we're going to be doing Brindlewood Bay. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be running my own 2-shot starting tonight. So
nice.
Just jump right in.
Good. You're free to copy everything I do. So
I plan on it. I'm emulating you. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, let's do cats. So cats, of course, is concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. I like to do this in order to establish some basic expectations for what we're going to be doing over the next, well, at least 2 weeks, and we might pick up these characters in the future as well. I will say that if you are watching this video and you've never run Brindlewood Bay, the back of the book, what I'm about to do is fully scripted in the book, so you don't have to memorize anything. And now that I've said that, I realize I don't have it pulled up. So let me pull it up really quick and scroll down to it. The helpful session 1 procedure. Okay, so the concept of Brindlewood Bay, it is a role-playing game about a group of elderly women, members of the local Murder Mavens Mystery Book Club, who frequently find themselves investigating and solving real-life murder mysteries. They become increasingly aware that there are supernatural forces that connect the cases they're working on, and in particular, a cult dedicated to the dark, monstrous aspect of the goddess Persephone will come to vex them. They will eventually have to face off against that cult. The game is directly inspired by the TV show Murder, She Wrote, but also takes inspiration from the works of H.P. Lovecraft, cozy crime dramas, and American TV shows from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Our aim. Today, we're going to begin by creating characters. After we create characters, we'll introduce them and populate a special section on the character sheet called A Cozy Little Place. After that, we'll take a short break. And then when we come back from the break, we'll have a beginning of session procedure, a special set of scenes called Cozy Vignettes, and then I'll present the mystery that we'll be doing. We'll do regular play, and then at the end of the session, we'll have a short debrief. In future sessions, I'll present new mysteries near the beginning of the session, and we'll dive right into regular play. Tone. The tone of this game bounces between the cozy and the creepy. It is pretty different from what this group normally does in that it is much more lighthearted in general, but it can kind of shift into the dark and the creepy, and that's kind of the fun of the game, is that sort of that tone shifting that takes place. Some kitschy, campy humor is permissible here and very much in keeping with some of the game's inspirations, but above all, your characters should take everything they do very seriously, even if we're having a bit of a laugh from time to time. And subject matter. The subject matter may occasionally get dark and challenging, especially when the dark cult rears its head. In order to help ensure no one's fun is ruined by triggering subject matter, we're going to have some safety tools in play. This group knows how all of our safety tools work, so I'm not going to dwell on it right now. Just to say that please go fill out your lines and veils on the sheet when we get a chance. And with all that said, we shall pause for character creation. And so viewers of the video, we'll be back in like 2 seconds because it's paused. All right. Okay, we're back. So we've all created characters. Well, I haven't, but they have. And we're going to introduce them now. We're basically going to go around the table. We're going to go around the table twice. The first time we go around, I'm going to just ask you for the basics. So just tell us name, their cozy activity, their style, and their maven move. That's all we need to know in the beginning. And then we'll go around again. And the second time we go around, I need to know 3 background information pieces for you all. 1, something about your deceased partner, because that's something you all share. You have a deceased partner. The second thing is if you had any kids, if you did, what's their deal? And then 3, what did you do before you retired to Brindlewood Bay? Like, what was your profession? And based off of everything we know about the character at that point, the rest of us will say something that we think can be found in your home. And that will go in the section called A Cozy Little Place. It's just like personal quarters and the between. And so I'm going to go in the order of the sheet. And so starting with Amanda, please tell us just the basics for now of Una.
So Una, her style is all the cardigans. Maybe not all at the same time, but definitely a cardigan for every occasion. Her pronouns are she, her. Her cozy activity is armchair cryptozoology, armchair specifically. She's not out traipsing the forest for Bigfoot or anything. I gave her extra points in composure, but left her sensitivity low despite the fact that she is an armchair cryptozoologist, just because I think that's funny. Anything else I need to know?
What's your maven move?
Oh, the maven move. The maven move that I chose is R. Quincy. You have a medical background, describe it, and then add medical bag to your cozy little place. When you use it to get advantage on a die roll, leave it unmarked. Una is a retired veterinarian.
You can go ahead and put the medical bag in your cozy little place.
Thank you.
And let's go down the line again to David and Marge.
I'm playing Marge. Marge is her style is speed walking. She's always wearing those kind of leisure suits or track suits, whether she's out walking or not. Her cozy activity is baking, but between her life and her speed walking and her baking, there is one constant: she's smoking. So if you get a baked good and has suspicious little gray flakes, you might just dust those off. And if you see something coming over the hill like a small choo-choo train, it is probably Marge.
Fabulous. What'd you choose for your maven move?
Marge is going to be our fox molder.
So that means you have a secret deep throat style person behind the scenes helping you with stuff. Fabulous. I love it. Okay, thank you. Let's go to Rob and Catherine Campbell.
Catherine Campbell has a style hippy dippy, cozy activity painting, and her maven move is Frank Colombo. So something about him causes the elite of society to not take you too seriously. What is it? And I think what it is that she's kind of politically somewhat politically committed and does not like rich people or the bourgeoisie. So she will put her foot in it in terms of, you know, making comments about those kind of things and not be popular.
I love it. Thank you. And let's go over to Mads and Mary Frost.
Yeah, Mary Frost, she, her. Her style is office hours, so she wears a lot of, you know, slim t-shirts and pencil pants, but she wears broken in combat boots with it. Her cozy activity is painting, and her maven move is Michael Knight, but I mean, I'm saying it's more Fred Jones because she has a trusty mode of transportation, which is essentially a 4-panel van that she calls, and this is probably stolen from somewhere, so I apologize, the Enigma engine.
Very good. Does it have like paintings on the side? Like, are there murals?
Yes. Well, okay, so I mean, like, it's very nondescript from the outside because she decided that she was going to be, you know, messing around on the inside to carry her some of the supplies, but then like also to carry the mavens around as needed. But yeah, she's like made little like designs and stuff inside the van.
I noticed that both you and Catherine have painting as a cozy activity.
Oh, I'm sorry,
that is
I
not
didn't
allowed.
notice.
So somebody has to pick something different. You two can decide amongst you.
Sorry about that.
You could go for like pottery or something. So just close.
I don't like messing around with clay. But I'll switch it. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back around. And now, Una, I want to know a little bit about your deceased partner, a little bit about your kids if you have any, and what did you do before you retired to Brindlewood Bay? And everyone else pay close attention because we will be populating the house after that.
Una had 2 partners in her life. Her first husband, named George, they separated, but they had a very amiable style relationship and they co-parented quite well. George died about 10 years ago of natural causes, just nothing too weird. After she split with George, she was in another relationship with a woman named Susan. Susan died about 4 or 5 years ago, and it took a little while to kind of deal with her grief. That's how she got into the cryptozoology, was just looking for things in the world that are interesting, for meaning, things to keep going, you know, to catch her attention. And that's how she fell into that activity. She does have a daughter. Her daughter's name is Melissa, and Melissa is a theoretical physicist at MIT.
I love it. Say again, what did you do before you?
Veterinarian.
A veterinarian, that's right. You told us that. Okay. Fabulous. Okay, at this point, Mads, Rob, David, and myself will each say something that we think can be found in your home based off everything we know about Una up to this point. You can alter it or request a change as you wish. Amanda, who has an idea to start?
You have a well-thumbed copy of the Atlas Obscura.
I'm going to say that you have a collection of videotapes that are all like alleged sightings of various cryptids.
I think you have. Oh, go ahead.
A bundle of snipe hunting tools.
You have a mysterious, like a metal mechanism that is allegedly supposed to be some kind of fragment of a UFO.
Fantastic. Any questions or changes, Amanda?
David, could you repeat what you had put into the cozy little place? Because I cut out a little bit.
A bundle of snipe hunting tools.
Thank you.
I don't know if that's a thing in Canada or not, but here snipe is like a fake cryptid that people pretend to go hunt. It's not a real thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
not what I thought that was at all.
Okay,
Almost-
yeah, I've
I've
always
never heard of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it feels like
Well,
an American
almost-
reference.
Yeah,
You guys are
snipe
weird.
hunting. Snipe hunting is a game that children play with one another,
Right.
where the kids that are in on the joke will convince kids that are not in on the joke that they're going snipe hunting, but there is no
Right.
such creature.
There's no such creature.
They will tell them to gather just about anything that you can imagine to aid in the hunt, such as long sticks or shovels or oars or nets, and then have them do ridiculous tasks that are supposed to lure the snipe or help drive out the snipe. So basically anything like that could be a possible bundle item you could call out as a snipe hunting tool.
Okay.
Yeah, and the purpose of this exercise is to scare the younger
Yes.
kids, basically. Yeah. So-
Yeah, so I just know snipes is a type of bird. So I was like, oh, bird hunting, that makes sense. But this is way better. Thank you.
All right, fabulous. Thank you. All right, let's go over to Marge now. Marge, deceased partner, kids, have you had them, and what'd you do beforehand?
So my deceased partner, his name's Nick. We had a wonderful marriage back in the old neighborhood, and we had Frankie and Vicky. They're still doing well in the old neighborhood. Before I retired to Brindlewood Bay, I helped Nicky with whatever he was doing before the accident that I never talk about. That was the end of him. Accidents probably in quotation marks.
Fantastic, thank you. And now let's do Cozy Little Place. If anybody has any ideas for what could go in there, by all means, say so.
A potted nerium plant.
Since your cozy activity is baking, I'm going to say that you have actually, I'm gonna think on it for a minute. Go ahead, Mads.
I was gonna say, and I don't know if we could do this like at this point, but somebody as a joke gave you one of those mold pans, but it's in the shape of what looks like an octopus with an extra head.
I love it.
I think you have a dated French to English business phrase book that once belonged to your husband.
I'm gonna say that you have a phone number that Nikki said you should only use in the most dire of circumstances. The number. All right, Catherine, tell us about your deceased partner, your kids, if you had any, and what you did beforehand.
Catherine was married to Hugh, who was a respected academic author who wrote about international relations. And she has one daughter, Sam, who is a barista in, let's say, lives in Chicago. Before retiring to Brindlewood Bay, she was an art teacher, also at a kind of like a community college. Yeah, that's everything, I think.
All right, Cozy Little Place.
A stack of unfinished portraits.
Like a little zip bag that has your pocket sketchbook and a set of brush markers.
A ready supply of paints, both toxic and non-toxic.
You have a giant mural in one of the rooms of your home that is informed entirely by your dreams. And so whenever you have a dream, you go and add to the mural.
Nice.
And finally, Mary Frost. Mads, tell us about your deceased partner, kids if you had them, and what was your career before Brindlewood Bay?
So yeah, Terry was a businessman, and he didn't own his own business, but he definitely worked for a corporation and was very well versed in finding out things. He was a great, not like trivial person, but I mean, he loved like odds and ends of information. He loved to just be able to talk about different things at different times, and they shared their love of travel together, which is why she still has like the old van, the old van that they used to travel around in. So very well loved. And he passed away before she came to Brindlewood Bay, because it was one of the places that they would visit on their travels as for holiday. And children, they have one son, Ethan, who ended up moving to the Midwest because it was something that he loved when they were traveling. And there's two grandchildren. Ethan had married a French woman, so the kids have like French sounding names. It's like the boy is like Etienne, and then the girl is Journée, but she goes by Journey, and she's in California somewhere. She seems to be doing well with her art and dance. And before retiring to Brindlewood Bay, she was a voice teacher in a community center.
Very good. Yeah, Amanda brings up a good point. There is an Etienne, a very significant side character called Etienne in the game. So maybe like Thierry or another French name would be good.
That is fine. You
Okay.
can change it.
Good. And Cozy Little Place. This is more just because you have one of these vans, and you can tell me if you don't like this as a character idea, Mads, but I think you have just like an incredibly large bag of pot. Just like insanely large bag of pot. Like it's so much pot, like it's like a pillowcase. It's so
a
big.
Trash bag full of pot.
It's huge.
It's medicinal. And just as a side note, and some people do know this, but I honestly don't know what the hell the smell of pot is. So, that's fine.
It'll be okay.
What's the legality of that in Massachusetts?
I'm pretty sure it's medicinal, not recreational, but I don't think it really matters too much for Brindlewood Bay purposes. I wouldn't sweat it too much.
You have from your well-traveled husband, you have one of those Chinese cat things that with the paw that goes like that, and
yes.
it sits on the dash of the van.
Oh, the little luck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the luck cat. Yeah.
On the dashboard.
You have a photo album set, like lots of photo albums, where there's always somebody unexpected in the background of the pictures.
Photo bombing, yay!
You have a travel diary, a travel journal that's overflowing with various tickets and such that you've taped inside.
Cool.
Fantastic. All right, great. I think that is everybody's introductions. And if you haven't chosen your end of session questions, go ahead and do that now. Those are the things you want to try to aim to do before the end of the session so you can get experience points. And then we'll just take a quick break. When we come back from the break, we will be doing what's called, it's called the Cozy Vignette. The Cozy Vignette is, if you imagine the beginning of our TV show, because Brindlewood Bay is a TV show, the beginning of our TV show where the credits are rolling, we see your mavens enjoying their lives in the town, right? So, you know, they're just by themselves doing something. Maybe they wave in the middle distance to someone, right? But just think about what we see your maven doing in the Cozy Vignette, enjoying their life in Brindlewood Bay. You can work in your cozy activities if you wish. Yeah, so we'll do that when we get back. Let's take 5 minutes and we'll come back and do that. All right, so the credits are rolling. Bum, 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 bum. And Brindlewood Bay, cozy vignettes, very brief little scenes. We're going to go in reverse order. So start, Miri.
So, yeah, it's in the morning and Mary's starting to do her errands. She hops in the Enigma engine and she has what looks like coffee, travel coffee mug, but it's really not. She like conveniently telescopes it out, like, you know, lights it up and rolls down the windows for the resplendent smokestack that is coming from the Enigma engine. And she's blasting the radio, or actually there's like she's able to hook up her MP3 player on it, and then just like, you know, just start singing songs that they would sing on travel trips together, and that's what you see blasting down Brindlewood Bay streets in the morning. So, and she's just having a great old time singing some songs, and you could almost like create like a little mini travel montage of the songs that she's playing, just having a good time and, well, smoking some weed.
I love it. The producers of Brindlewood Bay have very strong feelings about the legalization of marijuana. And so to help advocate for that, it is the literal first thing we see in the TV show Brindlewood Bay. Let's go over to Catherine.
Yeah, we see Catherine out doing her grocery shopping. She has a paper bag with a couple of baguettes sticking out the top, and she's making her way home, and you see her do a double take as this van belching smoke goes past, and she's walking along her own street, and before she goes into her house, we see her stopped by one of her neighbors, not direct neighbors, but a little further down the street, who has some kind of political sign in their front yard for a somewhat conservative politician, and Catherine just kind of kicks it over and grinds it into the grass with her heel, and does a quick double check around and walks on off to her house.
The producers of Brindlewood Bay have lots of political opinions, as it turns out. Very good. I love it. All right, Marge.
We see a hill in Brindlewood Bay with a small bit of smoke coming over the top. The audience is meant to believe that it is the Enigma machine, but no, it's Marge. She comes over the top. She's passing another group of ladies who are also walking, but they're not doing it quick enough. And she passes them on the right, and her smoke gets in their faces, and they like give little coughs. And she gives a little turn and like waves with the cigarette still sticking out of her mouth. And then the Enigma machine comes over the top of the hill and blasts them with a whole bunch of smoke.
Fabulous, thank you. And Una.
We see the Enigma machine go over the hill, the smoke, and almost knocked over my drink, and pass by our chain smoking friend, the camera pans to the beach nearby, and we see Una looking back at the smoky town and then picking up her binoculars and looking out to the ocean. The camera pans down, and next to her is a small, well-read book that says Brissy, the Brindlewood Bay Sea Serpent.
Very good. Thank you all so much. Let's present the mystery. You can follow along if you wish on the little mystery tab. Our mystery today is called Dad Overboard. It is complexity 6, which is a fairly easy mystery in this game. And I, of course, don't have it pulled up. Here we go. This mystery begins at the top floor of the Candlelight Booksellers during the weekly meeting of the Murder Mavens Mystery Book Club. Let's paint the scene first. As the camera pans around the loft where you hold your Murder Mavens meetings, it's at the top of the bookstore, what do we see that shows how you have personalized this space?
There's a horrifyingly overflowing ashtray.
I love it.
There's a Charlie board of or a bulletin board of different spots across the United States with little red threads connecting some, blue connecting some others, little pictures of Bigfoot and chupacabras and things like that all over it. And then a cute little handmade "You Are Here" pin right on Brindlewood Bay.
I love it.
There's a combination of either sketches and photographs of the Murder Mavens together in like different poses around some of the goofier landmarks of Brindlewood Bay in front of the signs. And we're like either like sitting or standing or a combination of both in the sketches and photographs.
Fantastic. Catherine?
Well, there is a print of a Frida Kahlo self-portrait that is on the wall.
Fantastic. So you've had your meeting of the Murder Mavens Mystery Book Club. You've been chatting about the latest Gold Crown Mysteries book. This is a series of mystery books that you love, written by an enigmatic author called Robin Masterson. And this series features super sleuth Amanda Delacourt. And so you've just finished the latest one. And just as the meeting is ending, you start to hear some very heavy footsteps coming up to the loft area where you hold your meetings. And you hear a very heavy clump, 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 stops halfway. Clump, 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 gets to the top of the stairs. It is Sheriff Wyman Dalrymple, the sheriff of Brindlewood County. Jowly, paunchy, speaks with a permanently exasperated tone. Now, at the time of the game's start, you all have already helped Sheriff Dalrymple solve some murders that have taken place in town, and so you have a little bit of notoriety already. And he explains to you that earlier today, the body of a wealthy banker, Albert Kraus, was found floating face down in the bay. Now, they dragged him out, and the body is currently being stored in an unconventional place we'll talk about in a moment. But for now, he explains that Albert and his family are currently yachting near town. In fact, the Kraus family yacht, the Regal Lady, is parked about a quarter mile off the coast. The family claims that Albert must have gotten drunk and fallen over in the middle of the night. Sheriff Dalrymple suspects foul play because the family seems, for the most part, very unbothered by Albert's death. And so He thinks there's foul play, but he can't prove it. Now, the body is currently being stored at the Brindlewood Bay Fish Market. The family has a friend, Etienne Beauregard, who is a fishmonger at the fish market. And Brindlewood Bay does not have a morgue, despite the fact that it has the highest murder rate per capita in the country. The body is currently being stored in the freezer of the fish market, tucked between the cod and the haddock. Etienne Beauregard, as a friend of the Krauses, is doing this as a friend until the body can be shipped back to Boston. The family is anxious to get the body and take it back to Boston. But Sheriff Dalrymple suspects foul play. And so he is asking the four of you, since you have some expertise in these matters, and he uses scare quotes like that, since you have some expertise in these matters, he would like for you to just find any evidence whatsoever that Albert was murdered. He does not need you to solve the case. The Brindlewood County Sheriff's Department can handle that. He just needs an excuse to keep the body here in town. And he says, now believe you me, no one is more frustrated about having to ask for help from a bunch of old biddies than I am. But nevertheless, I feel like it is your duty, just as it is my duty, as a citizen of this town, to figure out what's going on.
Oh, Sheriff, every time you come here and you ask for help at the end of your, so satisfyingly dispassionate delivery of your request, I feel like I need a cigarette.
He says, is there a moment when you ever don't feel like you need a cigarette, Marge?
Nope.
So let me get this straight. You, an agent of the law, want us to help you discover what this banker, you say, what happened to him?
I just need you to figure out if there was foul play. I need an excuse to keep the body here. The family's raising a ruckus. They want to take it back to Boston, which makes me think that there's something going on.
Why don't you just tell them you lost it? They'll believe it.
He says, we can't do that again, Marge.
You see Miri just giggling in the corner.
Question for Una. Una, you met one of the Kraus children several years. Well, let's talk about the family first. Let's talk about the suspects before we get into that. Here are the suspects. Allison Kraus is Albert's wife. David Kraus, the son. Sarah Kraus, eldest daughter. Emily Kraus, youngest daughter. There's also a butler who works on the yacht. And there's also like yacht crew, but for purposes of our TV show, they're not important. And then there's Etienne Beauregard, who is a friend of the family. And the family had been vacationing in and around Brindlewood Bay. He says, he kind of explains all this to you. And so here, Una, I have a question. You actually met one of the Kraus children, either Sarah, David, or Emily, several years ago. What were the circumstances around that meeting?
I was hosting a local discover everything you could possibly want to know about the local Brindlewood Bay cryptids lecture, speaking on Brissy, the aforementioned Brindlewood Bay sea serpent, speaking on the brown basking shark of the bay that is 3 times the size of a regular shark and 3 times as mean. Of course, Brindlewood Bay chupacabra, the fish sucker, etc., etc., and other such cryptids that are very well known, of course, here in Brindlewood Bay.
Very well known.
Yes. not made up on the spot at all. And Sarah was an attendant. She attended one of these lectures. I remember because only 4 people attended any of them, and she was one of them.
So you might have gotten to know her a little bit just from that. And I will tell you that she's the only of the 3 Crouch children that has a family of her own. She has 2 children and a husband. They are not on the yacht, though, currently. And so you do have kind of a connection to one of the Crouch children if you need it, Una, if you think that would be helpful. Sheriff Dalrymple does not wait to hear if you want to do this or not. He grabs one of your donuts that you have set out, flecks the gray matter off the top of it, and implores you once again, do not solve the case. Just get me one piece of evidence of foul play. That's it, ladies. He tells you, he has told you already that, you know, the body's at the fish market. If you want to go to the boat, he has a deputy. Deputy Anderson will be happy to take you out to the yacht if you want to do that as well. And he leaves. It's about 7 o'clock at night. You can all do whatever you wish. 4 mavens and 1 following up on 1 lead is probably a lot. So if you want to split up, that's okay. But let's go around the table and figure out what everybody wants to do here. So what do you think, Catherine?
I think it would make sense for Catherine to go speak to Etienne.
Sounds good. Una?
Also, we'll go to speak with Etienne. If they are housing this body and they're friends with the family, then they might have a little bit more information.
Yeah, indeed. Miri?
Sure, exactly. I mean, so the yacht is still like
It's
moored?
anchored. Yeah, it's
okay.
anchored like offshore because it can't pull in. It's too big. But Deputy Anderson will take you out there if you want to go there.
Yeah, sure. It sounds like fun.
Very good. And Marge?
I'll go with Miri. I'll collect some baked goods as, you know, something to console the family.
I love it. Very good. So, the fish market. We'll fast forward to that. The fish market. Now, this is one of those places. It's like Pike Place in Seattle. Okay, it's more of a tourist attraction. I mean, you can go there to buy fish, but it's really more about families. They're, you know, kind of watching the fishmongers perform, tossing fish and that kind of thing, right? And singing songs and whatnot. And this time of year, it's tourist season in Brindlewood Bay. So when you get there, even at night, it's very busy. You know, they have string lights strung up, and there's families all over the place. And a paint the scene question for everyone, whether you're there or not. What about the fish market reminds you of why you love it? Or what about this place makes you hate coming down here?
Well, Catherine's strictly vegetarian, so she does not like coming to the fish market at all because the smell and just the sight of all these dead creatures is very off-putting to her.
Una loves it. You know, if you're looking for really good evidence about cryptids, you have to go to places like this where people aren't actually taking a look at every single dead fish. There could be evidence on one of those fish of the Brindlewood Bay fish sucker. Just got to find it.
Yeah, Miri definitely wanted to avoid the fish market because when she traveled with her husband and kids, I mean, it wasn't where they would do the usual tourist trap stuff. It would be finding like those little nooks and crannies of the different places that they would visit, and she frankly doesn't like the crowds.
They won't let Marge in the place anymore because she smokes so much and it's off-putting to tourists.
Very good. That's the thing, is there's probably nowhere in Brindlewood Bay you're allowed to smoke, right? So,
They actually managed to enforce it in the fish market, though.
Very good. I love it. Good. So, Catherine and Una, you are at the fish market. You will actually see Etienne at the front entertaining some families. That's sort of what he does. He's a sort of more of an entertainer than an actual fishmonger. And so you can go talk to Etienne directly once he's done with his little show, I suppose, or you can interrupt it. Alternatively, you could just sneak into the back to go look at the body if you wanted to look directly at the body, which is being currently stored in the freezer in sort of back non-public facing area. But in any case, Catherine, what's your approach here?
I think Catherine will turn to Una and say, well, knowing you, I suppose you want to go take a look at that body, don't you? Why don't I talk to the man himself? I'll keep him busy. So you can go doing a bit of poking around.
Catherine, you're always such a dear. That is exactly what I was hoping you were going to say. I'll go sneak round the back. You use all your charms and your wiles, and you keep that man distracted.
Well, I don't know about that, but I can keep him talking.
Fantastic. So Una, what are you going to do? You're going to sneak around to the back?
Yep, I haul out my my little medical bag in case I need it, because I mean, I used to be a vet, but there's not that much difference between animals and people. So
Yeah.
probably. And so I'm going to sneak around back, and when I think Etienne is sufficiently distracted, I imagine it's kind of like a tent or something like that.
It's actually like a warehouse, and there's lots of workers there, so you're really just kind of sneaking around the workers, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. Well, nobody ever suspects a little old lady of doing
Exactly.
anything bad.
That's what makes you so good at this, right?
Exactly.
So, fabulous. All right, we'll come back to that. So it is nighttime, and the sheriff has told a Deputy Anderson. You all know Deputy Anderson, Brett Anderson. He's a local boy. He has instructed Deputy Anderson to take you out to the Regal Lady if you wish to go out there. Now, I'm going to need surnames for both of you. Marge, what is your last name?
Oh, last name is Castellucciano.
Castellucciano.
But who has the time? Just call me Marge.
Deputy Anderson is there at the pier. Deputy Anderson is normally a bike cop. And I don't even know if he knows how to operate the little boat that's going to take you out there. So good luck. But he's a big beefy guy. Like his little khaki shorts and shirt are practically, bulging because of his muscles are ready to rip. And he's got a crew cut haircut. And he's like, good evening, Miss Frost, Ms. Castellucciano.
It's Marge.
Marge, dear Marge.
I'm supposed to be taking you out to the yacht. Yes.
Yes.
It's like, okay, good. Well, this is the county police vessel, and there is a little boat that has the Brindlewood County Police or Sheriff's Department.
Marge is
Vessel
gonna
is
look
generous. Would you say it's a dinghy?
Yeah,
like,
Marge is. Miri's gonna look over at it and just kind of look at it, at the deputy, look at it, and the deputy. And are you sure this is going to be able to take not only us but you in this?
He says, "I know what you mean.
There's a lot of you.
I've been bulking up. I'm glad you noticed. Thank you very much,
absolutely.
Miss Frost. I think it'll be fine." And he gets in there, and there's a good 3 or 4 minutes of him figuring out the controls of the boat. Marge, you gonna step in there and help him out?
Yeah, I think so. I'll put out my cigarette as I'm getting near the gas and everything else of the engine, and then help pull the starter on the little gas engine. Come on, son, you gotta put your back into it. You say you've been bulking up, but You gotta torque it.
He does, and like there's a, it kind of rumbles to life, and he's like, oh, that was easy. All right, great. And he's like, all right, you should probably put on like a flotation device.
Honey, if I'm going overboard, you don't want me to survive.
And Miri just looks at him and goes, oh, honey, I have my flotation devices right here.
He's like, and he gets real blush. Like, you can't see it because it's nighttime, but he's blushing. And you're off to the Regal Lady.
Ooh, after a comment like that, Miri, I'm gonna need another cigarette.
Catherine. Etienne does this like French man of the ocean shtick with the families. And so he's got like this big fish. And there's a group of families in front of him. And he's like dancing around with the fish. Les poissons, hi, 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 ha, ha, ha. And he dives in with the fish to like the father of a family. And he's like, Les poissons wants to give you a kiss. Kiss les poissons. And, the man is like looking a little like, whatever, like nervous. And, and everyone's kind of just, these are families that have had a long day of vacationing and they're all sunburnt and tired. And Etienne's doing his best to keep them engaged. What are you doing, Catherine?
Standing back and watching the show and hoping to catch his attention once he is done. Definitely not kissing the fish.
Fair enough. There's a bit of a break with the families. Then what?
I think I'll sidle over to him and say, Etienne, is that right? I hear you're acting as our unofficial coroner in this town.
He says, oh, yes, hi. You're Mrs. Campbell, right?
That's right, dear.
And he's sort of he just passes the fish off to a tourist and then turns to you and it says, now, Etienne, we should describe him since a little bit more detail now that you're talking to him. He has a silver beard. He's very hale. He's quite friendly. He says, what do you know about that?
Well, nothing much yet, but let's just say that sheriff of ours, he's a little out of his depth, I think.
He says, well, I'm just storing the body here until it can be taken back to Boston. I'm actually an old friend of Albert and Allison, and I was happy to do it. I mean, given that the town council thinks a morgue would be bad for tourism and they keep voting it down, we have to make do, right? Especially in these trying times. And
So,
what is your involvement?
I don't have any official involvement. I'm just a curious, concerned citizen, making sure that our law enforcement personnel are keeping to the Constitution and not acting outside of the bounds of what they should be doing.
Sir, what should I do with this fish? You must kiss le poisson. And then he turns back to you.
Do not bring that fish near me.
He says, well, I assure you that everything is well under control. I'm busy now, Mrs. Campbell. Perhaps you should go talk to the sheriff if you want to make sure that everything is in hand. He's he's blowing you off.
I'm keeping an eye on him. Don't be concerned about that. But I'm curious. How was the body brought here?
Do a information move at this point, or no, we don't call it that. The meddling move at this point. And I think it's probably with presence, even though you're not really buttering them up, you are trying to be like kind of intimidating, which I think is good. And as a former attorney for the ACLU, I will tell you that people are easily intimidated by that, especially when they've done something wrong. So roll 2d6 plus presence.
I have an 8.
An 8. We'll come back to that in a moment. Una. Slipping into the back is no big deal because there's workers going back and forth all the time. People will just look at you funny, but they don't otherwise stop you from at least initially coming in. You will see carts of shrimp and crabs being taken from a particular hallway, which means that's probably where the freezer is. So what do you do?
Una is walking kind of slowly, very nonchalantly down the hallway, swinging her medical bag and whistling. It's very, I'm not out of place, you're out of place, kind of obvious, trying to be sneaky and trying to not look like she's being sneaky. But hopefully it'll just get her to the room where she could sneak around. And I mean, these freezers never lock from the inside because that would be,
oh, I promise you they
that
do
would
in
be bad.
Brindlewood Bay.
Oh, good. Yes, because that hence the murder capital. Yeah. So Una's going to open the door just enough to kind of slink in and
Well,
slam it shut and lock it.
Let's back up. Let's do night move to sneak around to get
That's
to the
fair.
freezer. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
They're going to kick me out.
It's worse than
And
that.
I'll miss information, not just about the murder, but some
But
sort
the fish
of
sucker, yeah.
Yeah.
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. Somebody connected to the murder. You're going to get their attention.
Mm.
A shadowy figure, perhaps. In any case, go ahead and roll with composure.
It was a 5.
A 5. We'll come back to that in a moment. The regal lady is silhouetted by the moon, which is very big in the sky tonight. The black waters glistening with moonlight. They have a platform that the boat, that your little dinghy can be kind of like pull up to in order to get onto the yacht. There is an older gentleman, a butler, based off of his black uniform. He sighs and he says, "How many more visits from the sheriff's department should we expect tonight?"
I mean, this isn't an official visit from the sheriff's department. I mean,
And
Marge
yet you are
has
in a sheriff's department vessel, madam.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that they're, supposedly watching for whatever reason, but no. I mean, Marge here has some...
Are you here for the cocktail party?
Yes, because Marge has brought some stuff to go with the party.
And sticking the cigarette, some of the ash falls onto the plate as she offers it up.
He takes and he says, Mrs. Krause didn't tell me we were to expect any locals, but come up here and just wait. And you can go to the top deck of the yacht and he will go and confirm that you're supposed to be there. You do see some string lights in the back. It looks like they do have a little gathering of some sort planned. The day of the husband being killed or dead. Let's have a paint the scene for the regal lady, everyone. What do we see that indicates these people have more money than they know what to do with?
A family, literally, an ice sculpture family of themselves.
Behind the yacht, they are towing a smaller yacht, the guest house yacht.
The staff on the yacht are all extravagantly uniformed in something that's kind of almost reminiscent of 18th century naval uniform. It's just ridiculous.
As we're arriving, there is another small boat arriving with the relief crew, who is apparently staying in a hotel so they can periodically change out their staff. And they are all uncomfortably fixing their old world uniforms before they climb aboard.
Very good. So now that you're aboard, and you do have a little bit of time to yourself while the butler, Andrew, goes to confirm that you're supposed to be here. Miri, what do you do? Actually, I'll give you a lead. From the front of the yacht, you hear a voice. Andrew! Andrew! It's a young man's voice. Are you going to bring a lemon for my drink, or do I have to wring it from my hat? Miri, what do you do?
Oh, I'm going towards that voice. That's just, what? I mean, like, taking in all the ice sculpture and the little lady guest yacht behind. I mean, just, wait, what? So, I mean, I take a look at Marge and go, I'm gonna check that out. That sounds kind of weird.
Marge, I will tell you that you have easy access to the next lowest deck as well. Like, there's stairs going down, and there's nothing to stop you from going down there.
Okay. I think that as the relief crew is coming on and the current crew is going out, I am taking pieces of their uniforms and I say, don't worry, dear. I'm just going to help out here a little bit. And then she puts a cigarette in her mouth and starts to take charge of the incoming crew so she can make her way below decks and investigate.
Let's have the night move. What do you think is going to happen if you fail?
Just that they'll recognize me as not one of them and call me out.
I think it's worse than that. They will recognize you and your purpose for being here. Go ahead and roll with composure.
7.
Okay, fantastic. Miri, you go to the front of the yacht where you heard the voice, and you do see a young man in the built-in jacuzzi in the front. There is a bar right next to the jacuzzi where there are presumably lemons. And the young man is sitting in the jacuzzi up to like his nose like this. And he has black sunglasses on at nighttime. And he looks up at you and rises up out of the water and says, who are you?
Oh, I'm from town. I wanted to, well...
From this town?
From Brindlewood Bay.
Brindlewood
yes.
Bay, right. Brindlewood Bay.
You needed a lemon?
Yes, actually. Do you happen to have one?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that the drink...
The bar does, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna, like, walk over and then, like, casually grab a lemon and...
I didn't anticipate that my evening would involve old women and lemons, but I like you.
Okay. Well, I like you too. And then she proceeds to, prepare the lemon.
He rises up out of the water a little bit, and he takes the lemon and squeezes it into his drink. And he's like, are you a friend of my mother's or something?
I think that my friend is a friend of, well, someone in your family. Just wanted to see what all the resplendence was about.
My mother, I think, is drowning her sorrows with cocktails tonight and hors d'oeuvres.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, have you heard about my father?
I think the news has traveled, yes. My condolences, as lame as that sounds, I'm sorry.
Thank you. We're all very upset. So
Are you using the sunglasses to cover your well, tear stained eyes?
I actually don't possess the ability to cry. I've been to the doctor about it.
Oh dear. Oh, how do you show sorrow?
Well, I usually choose artistic expression. I'm a gallerist. Perhaps you've been
Oh,
to one of my galleries in Boston.
unfortunately, I was not able to. I've actually done more singing myself, so.
Cut away from this for a moment and go to Catherine. So, Catherine, you were kind of pressing Etienne about the body a little bit. And he says, well, he kind of looks at you and says, there's something that I think the sheriff should know about.
Oh yes. Why don't you let me know, and we'll pass it on to the sheriff if we think it's
Of course.
appropriate for his ears.
He says, here, follow me. And he takes you to a little like back office area and opens up a drawer and pulls out a waterlogged yellow envelope. He says, this was tucked into the inside of his dressing gown. I'm not sure how the police didn't see it or find it. And he opens up this waterlogged yellow envelope and pulls out a bunch of waterlogged receipts, a big stack of receipts. These receipts it's hard to tell exactly what they're for because they were in the ocean, theoretically or allegedly. But you can tell that whatever they are, it's very extravagant purchases. Lots of artwork, but also furs and things like that. He says, I have a feeling this is probably has something to do with what happened to Albert.
Someone was spending his money, you think?
He's like,
And he found out about it?
well, I don't know. He says, could you excuse me for a moment? And he actually leaves the
Well,
office.
Just one more question.
Just one moment. And he steps out of the office, leaving you there. And this is your complication. And then you can hear him locking you in the office. And what do you do? That's your clue, though. The receipts for the extravagant purchases is a clue if somebody wants to write that down.
I think I just extremely nonplussed as to why this would happen. But the first thing I do is look around to see if there's something I can use to defend myself if he's gone to fetch someone who's in on the crime, as it were. Is there a pipe or a fish hook or something in this office that I can use, and potentially even if if nobody comes in a few minutes and it's quiet, I will use it to break the door, smash the glass in the door and open it from the outside if I can.
You're looking around and the lights go out. Let's cut over to Una. Una, you've managed to sneak back to a long hall that leads to the freezer. And all the lights go out in the hall that you're in, except for one. There's a shadowy figure standing just outside the edge of the light. They are speaking with some kind of device that disguises their voice, so you can't tell who it is or if it's a man or a woman. They say,
I recommend you turn away from this. Go back home. Go back to your regular life. There's nothing for you here.
And then you see the glimmer of cold steel as a gun goes into that single shaft of light, indicating that you have a gun trained on you right now. You can, of course, put on the crown to avoid this, but maybe play to see how it goes out, or play it out to see how it goes.
This is the problem. I always want to see what happens. I think I'm going to, I thought about putting on a crown, but I think I'm going to play this one out because it could be fun.
Night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
I'm going to get shot.
It's worse than that. You're going to get shot and be quite dead, and the body's going to go missing.
Ah, then I'd be a missing person, but that's not as fun. Okay.
So are you just going to try to talk your way out of this? You could try to run. What are you doing?
Talk my way out of it. Yeah, I'm a little old lady. I don't think I could outrun whoever this is.
Roll composure.
That's an 8.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Marge, you got a mid result on your convincing the staff to let you become a staff member, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at let's read the move, because I have to remind myself what the move does on a mid result. On a 7 to 9, you do it or hold steady, but there's a complication or cost. I describe what it looks like. Okay, very simple. You've gone downstairs, you've got a tray of something, and someone happily puts the tray in your hands. They're like, oh, good, here. It just like gives you like a big thing of prawns or something and like sets it in your hands. And that's great. The complication is this. You have to deal with this tray of prawns for the rest of the mystery. So they're always there. You always got to deal with them because no one will tell you what to do with these prawns. But otherwise, you're down there. So what do you do?
I'm going around and just having a peek at places and trying to goad information out of staff members. Can you believe it? All this right after the death, right after the, suspicious circumstances.
And no one's really opening up. But I will tell you that down here, while you're kind of ingratiating yourself with the staff, you're kind of on like a level of like where the family will be sometimes, right? You see a ajar door that appears to be like an office of some sort. And then there's like a whole like art gallery on this level as well. You'll also hear some very loud sobbing coming from a salon or a sitting room of some sort. What do you do?
I'll take my tray of prawns and knock on the door and kind of open it. Hello in there. Refreshments.
Is that the sobbing room?
Yeah.
You will see a young woman wearing a big pink cable knit sweater, sitting on a silk couch, her face on her arms, just weeping. And she'll look up and say, oh, good. I love a prawn.
There, dear. Everybody loves a prawn. Come on now. I'll just
set the prawns down. She's like, and she takes
offer the tray out.
She's like, do you know who loved prawns?
Well, I got a feeling you're about to tell me.
My father. And then she bites into the prawn.
That's good, dear. That's good. And I'll ash into the now empty small prawn dish.
Indeed. She's like, he loved them. He loved all kinds of shellfish, prawns, shrimp, oysters, clams.
Cigarette, dear.
Yes, thank you.
There you go.
Lighting the cigarette. Oh, Oh,
You tell me all about it now.
good. I'll let you have the meddling move with presence.
All right. Not good. 4.
She puts a cigarette down and says, well, I just can't believe it, you know? I just can't believe it. I mean, can I tell you something?
Of course, dear.
Well, last night, when my father allegedly got drunk and fell overboard, I saw someone on the top deck with him. They were having an argument. It was we're going to cut to commercial. Cut to commercial. If David narrates a commercial that airs during Brindlewood Bay's airtime, based off the prompt I give him, we will change his die result to a 10 plus. David, your prompt is furniture liquidation sale. Think on it, and we'll come back to you. Meanwhile, Miri. Did you get dice on the table with David Krause?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. He's talking about art and stuff, you know, and he says, I like you. I don't normally vibe with the elderly, but you're special.
I am, yes.
I'm especially fond of this interesting sartorial choice here that you've made. It's giving me very G.I. Jane meets Annie Hall.
Absolutely.
Meets the Golden Girls.
I don't wear cardigans.
Meets. He says, yes, we're all very, very upset about my father. Dead. Tragedy. Really. I'm reminded, of course, of the great performance artist Gal Bai. Do you know Gal Bai? So committed to his work that he threw himself from the top of a 5-story building, the ultimate artistic expression. If only my father's death could have been so significant, but he lacked vision.
But he was only able to do it once.
Gal Bai?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes. And we're still talking about his death to this day.
And he was only able to do it once.
Well, this has been scintillating. You will have to press him a little more if you want to learn something.
Is anyone else experiencing the same level of sorrow? I mean, it just seems that this cocktail party that's going on seems to be rather, premature or possibly, inappropriate for.
Make the meddling move with presence.
Okay. Oh, that would be a 6.
He says, well, as you know, the Krause family, we are a very stoic, stiff upper lip kind of family. Onward and upward. Well, for everyone except Sarah. my older sister. She's barely consolable during all this. I don't know why. Father absolutely hated her. But she tried so hard to earn his love. I think that's, well, it's really kind of sad and pathetic if you think about it. You should hear the nicknames he gave to his own grandchildren. I won't repeat them here. And it's kind of going on and on. When he's just yanked underwater.
I look. I mean, suction from the jacuzzi?
And then blood, a plume of blood, fills the jacuzzi. Unless you want to put on a crown.
Crown? Jesus.
So the crown, you have two choices, the crown of the queen or the crown of the void. The crown of the queen, you can mark any that you wish. The crown of the void, you must mark the first one. I believe that's right. Right? Do I have that right? You can choose. By putting one on, or by marking one, you get to bump up your die result to a 7 to 9.
Okay.
Think on it for a moment, though.
Yeah.
And let's take our second break. We'll take 5. Cut to commercial, furniture liquidation sale. Take it away, David.
All right, I can do that. But first, look, a commercial for Brindlewood Bay. Look at this wonderful mock-up of the future murder board that will be available through the Roll20 marketplace. But if you back on Kickstarter, you can get it at a significant discount, or at the manager's special Murder Maven pledge tier. Included is part of your pledge.
It is indeed. It is free. Okay. Furniture liquidation
back
sale.
To the actual commercial. Furniture liquidation. It rolls over to a commercial that has real fast upbeat music, and the camera keeps like pulsing in and out on this warehouse style furniture store called Happy Jack's Lumberjack Lumber Liquidators. And the man himself, Happy Jack, is there, and they're zooming in and out on his face. And he's like, "Hi, I'm Happy Jack." He's an overweight guy in a lumberjack uniform, and he's got an axe. He's like, "We're running a special right now. If you can get down here before Happy Jack, the lumberjack, can manage to chop this here bed frame in half, you'll get any of our furniture half off. But you gotta move quick, because I'm pretty quick." And he starts swinging, and then it like starts zooming in on the store again, and it's like Happy Jack's Lumberjack Lumber Liquidators right at the end of Furniture Row. And then it cuts back to Happy Jack swinging away with his axe, and he looks real winded, like he's going to need a break real soon, or it's going to be a problem out here in the sun. But he keeps swinging, and then the commercial fades out.
If you don't want Happy Jack to overexert himself in the heat and die, come buy some furniture.
If he dies, it's all your fault.
Very good. We come back from the commercial, and Sarah Krause. I got a bit of prawn stuck in there. Now, what was I saying?
Are you all right there, dear? That was...
Yes, I'm fine.
You were saying you saw somebody.
Yes.
There was somebody with your father.
Yes, an argument between Andrew and my father. It was heated. There were some very, very serious words being exchanged. I don't know exactly what they were fighting about, but it was very heated, very intense. And then, well, it must have been around the time that my father fell overboard. But that's your clue. Since you got a 10 plus now on your roll, it is a heated argument between Andrew and Albert. on the night of the murder. Let's cut back to Catherine now. Catherine, the lights come back on, and the office door swings open of its own accord, seemingly, leading back out to the fish market. What do you do?
I think Catherine's standing there with the fish hook or whatever it is she's found, looking suspiciously out into the corridor to see, and then inspecting the lock to try and figure out how was this unlocked.
The fish market, the office just looks out into the general
Mm-hmm.
merchant space of the fish market. The fish market was bustling with customers moments ago, but now it is completely empty. Just rows of freezer cases filled with fish staring at you.
Well, since there's definitely something suspicious going on, I want to go look for Una and make sure she's safe.
When you step out of the office into the fish market area, you will see that you are not alone. There's a group of people, about a dozen of them, wearing long midnight blue robes. They all turn in unison to face you. They're flanked all around the space. And when they turn to face you, you see that they are wearing masks that are like the faces of Grecian statues. Placid, expressionless stone masks. And they all point in unison. They turn and point in unison out to the bay. How do you feel?
Unnerved, but trying to put a brave face on it, she says. What are you supposed to be, skull and bones or something? My husband was a professor.
Take the
He knew how
condition
to deal with your
unnerved.
kind.
Take the condition unnerved. And then they all turn back around and disappear into the shadows. And before you know it, there are customers coming back into the fish market like nothing happened. Let's cut over to Una. Una, what do you say to convince this person to, to leave you alone?
Can you refresh my memory? They told me to.
Just,
They just said to go.
Just to drop
right?
it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I've stared down more than a share of these guns. More shadowy people. Oh, I'm in the shadows. I study cryptozoology. Do you know what that means? That means I'm not afraid of people like you. In fact, you should be afraid of me.
And they put the gun away and they disappear into the shadows. But before they go, they say, "You've been warned." And I'm giving you the condition in quotes, "You've been warned."
Una dusts off her hands. That's right, you leave. Pointing a gun at me. The
You otherwise
nerve.
have access to the freezer.
I would like to go in and look at the body.
It was as described to you. There are shelves of cod, haddock, prawns, other seafood, crabs, and there's one shelf with a tarp shaped like a body stuck onto it. What do you do?
Una walks in. Prawns. And goes up to the body. Very not gingerly at all. Pulls the tarp down. puts her medical bag right up on top of the body's stomach. All right, first things first, we're checking to see if there's any fish suckers.
Very good. You can take the meddling move with reason. You can roll with advantage if you're using your medical bag.
I am going to use my medical bag, yeah.
And you never have to mark that, so.
Oh, right on. That would be an 11.
Nice. You want to bump it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Go ahead and pick your crown. We'll come back to it in a moment. Miri, you put on a crown, yes?
Yes.
Before the bloom of blood, David Krause pops back out from up the water. Says, sorry, I just wanted to put you on edge. A little bit of drama in the moment. Do you feel electric?
I feel energized by your performance. You had to prove to me that you know, the last and only time that you can do this would be thrilling.
Listen, we had a lot of family drama right before, you know, the death. Well, he is dead. The accidental death. I could tell you what the nature of that drama is, of course, but, well, I wouldn't be very loyal to my family if I just told you what I know. And so why should I say anything?
Because you want to
All right,
know.
you convinced me. As it turns out, my youngest sister, Emily, it was revealed she is not my father's daughter.
What? Really?
Yeah. Seems my mother had, well, she's taken on a series of lovers in her lifetime. But
Know what that's like.
a little accident about 22 years ago resulted in my dear sister, half-sister, Emily.
Amazing. Drama indeed.
Indeed. So, are you staying for the little celebratory cocktail party?
Is there something to celebrate? I mean, I'd love to, if I can.
You could be my date.
Oh, I would love that.
And he gets out of the water and he puts on a terry cloth robe and says, good. We'll go together.
Absolutely.
And that's the basic complication is you and David are going to be attached to the hip for a bit.
Is he cute?
He's fastidious. So very good. Okay, good. Let's figure out where we're all at. So Marge, you're currently dealing with the weepy Sarah, who has given you a very good clue. And Miri, you just got a very good clue as well. And Catherine, you've encountered the cult. Congratulations, giving you a void clue. That is a void clue, by the way, Marge, for purposes of your move. And cultists at the fish market. I'm also led to believe, because of your move, Marge, that I have to reduce the thresholds between the layers by 1. Yes. Okay, good. So it's going to get creepier much faster as we play the campaign. Or significantly faster, at least. Good. And Una is checking out the body. I owe you a clue for that still, and a void clue. And I think I want to pick up with Marge. So Marge, you've probably gotten all you can get out of Sarah at this point. She says, "Thank you for the prawn and the shoulder to cry on."
Of course, dear. And if you need any more prawns, left the tray, or cigarettes, you just look for me.
Thank you so much. How long have you worked for our family?
Years, dear, years.
Good. And then you hear down a hallway, "Sarah, you're not still going on and on about your father, are you?"
Want me to run interference?
She's like, "Yes, I think so." And she takes a blanket and just like, she kind of curls up on the couch and pulls a blanket over her body. And
Pat her head.
She's hidden now. So what do you do?
I'll push out the door to kind of block the way. Who do I find out there?
You see a woman, very thin, very graceful, very well dressed in a sort of black and white ensemble. She's maybe a little younger than you, but she's clearly older than everybody else here. So she's probably Mrs. Krause. She says, "Oh, splendid. I absolutely love shellfish." And she goes and takes a prawn from your tray.
Of course, don't we all? Don't we all? Anything else I can get for you this evening?
Well, and she looks at you and she says, "I don't know you."
That's the sign of good help. You barely notice we're around.
"Are you one of the elderly women Andrew was just telling me about?"
I can't be certain, ma'am. What elderly women was Andrew telling you about?
And then Andrew comes up behind her. "Yes, madam, this is one of the women who claim to be here for the party." And he looks at you and says, "Don't those prawns have somewhere to be?"
Perhaps, Andrew. Perhaps you'd like to share more about a disagreement you've been having.
And Allison says, "What sort of disagreement, Andrew?" I mean,
yes, Andrew, tell us.
He's very upset because he's been working at the same salary for the last 20 years. But I say that, well, there's a certain, he's like family. That's why it's okay.
Of course, but was that the nature of the disagreement, Andrew? Enlighten us.
Andrew says, "I have many things to prepare, ma'am." And he turns and walks away. And she says, "Well, he can be a bit sensitive. I, on the other hand, would love a prawn." And she takes the prawns.
Of course, of course.
So what are you doing? While she's
Well, I was trying to get Andrew to talk,
I don't think he's
but
going
since
to.
he's gone, we'll see if I can't get her to talk. Ma'am, if I may, you aware of any reason why Andrew would want some harm to befall a member of the family?
Oh my God, did something happen?
Nothing new, ma'am. Just the one tragedy.
Oh, Albert. It's just like Albert to go and get himself killed. When I'm on the precipice of charity fundraiser greatness, the man could be so self-involved.
Of course, dear, of course. What else was he self-involved about?
Go ahead and make the meddling move with presence.
Got bad dice today, folks. 5.
We'll come back to that. How are we looking on clues right now? Out of curiosity. Let's do a clue check.
3?
3 clues. Okay.
Well, we'll have another one from my roll, so that'll be 4.
Yes. Indeed. Catherine, what are you doing right now? Now that the fish market is filling back up with people, and
I
the
was going to look
weirdos
for
and the hoods are gone.
I was going to look for Una to make sure that she's safe after this lights out, getting locked in the office incident.
Etienne comes up and says, "Oh, there you are."
You locked me in.
Oh, did I? Sorry, just a habit, you know.
And she just kind of peers toward him. And who are those people with the masks? Is that part of your show for the tourists?
He's like, "I'm quite certain I don't know what you're talking about." Catherine, can I call you Catherine?
You can call me whatever you like. If
So
you give me a
Catherine,
few answers.
perhaps I could give you some answers over a late night coffee.
I don't see why not.
My shift is
As long
just
as you
ended.
As long as you don't bring that fish along with you.
He's like, no, don't worry about that. He says, let's go. There's I've got a favorite little spot of mine. We'll go. We'll chat about the Krauses or anything else you want to talk about.
Will you just give me 2 minutes to powder my nose?
He's like, sure. I could use a minute to go to clean the fish smell off myself.
Yeah, and before meeting him out front to go, Catherine's going to go look for Una just to make sure she's.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably just like text each other. This is 2022. You could just be like, "Are you okay?" Are you okay? With your giant text, you know. It takes like only 4 words can appear on the screen at once.
Yeah, it's still got like a Nokia phone from the.
If it's
from the
anything
late
like the
90s.
old people I know that text, it's going to be like lots of emojis, but they don't really make sense why you're using them.
Yeah, it's like an eggplant emoji in a completely the wrong context.
My mom is just like she has the font turned up so big, like that you can only see it. You can barely hold like a sentence on the screen. Una, you can confirm to Catherine that you're fine if you wish. I owe you.
Sure, and then I'll go with Etienne to get whatever information I can.
I think you just get a text back, and it's an angry face, a gun, a smiley face, some dancing people, and then a fish.
Fantastic. The clue. Well, first of all, I will tell you this. This is actually not a capital C clue, but it's very, very important context for the mystery. There is clear evidence of blunt force trauma on the back of Albert's head. How did the sheriff miss that? I don't know. He's not very good at his job. Second thing, the actual clue. The actual clue is his wristwatch. His wristwatch is not set to the right time. It's set for 3 hours back, Pacific time. That's your clue. And then I owe you a void clue as well. You hear a wet sound. You notice a bit of packed ice crumbling down in front of your face. A fish, kind of like one of those Billy Big Bass things, has like moved its head over. its eyes oozing a purple fluid. And it just speaks with its fishy mouth. Embrace the void. How do you feel?
Una's pretty sure it's going to be a while before she has sushi again.
Take the condition in quotes, embrace the void.
I like it.
But that you also put that as a void clue as well.
Especially because I marked a crown of the void to do that.
Oh, you have Shadow in the Garden?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's perfect. That's a perfect segue to Shadow in the Garden. And so, very good. Let's check in with Miri Frost. Miri, you are in David's bedroom while he changes. He's pulling out an assortment of black tops, and he says, "What do you think of this?"
Do they all like same cut, just all black?
They're all just black, and they look very similar to each other.
Okay, that looks good.
He's like,
Or do you want to try this one? And then she just pulls out one that looks almost exactly the same.
he's like, "Oh, I can see what you mean.
Yes, absolutely.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I
How about
like
these
you.
pants?
You're like a little friend,
I am a little friend.
a little pocket lady,
Yes.
a little polka lady. Put you in my pocket." Puts the sweater on. What are you doing now?
Well, helping him get dressed, apparently. um, you were saying that this was like a celebration. Was this already planned to celebrate something big happening?
Well, it's not officially a celebration, but I don't have to tell you that most of us are happy he's dead.
Oh.
I'm sure that gives all of us a motive for having done it. But the truth is the truth. The man was a miserable piece of shit.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, if he was busy with his work or, not able to give the time and attention to all of you that you deserve, I mean, I can see where it'd be a problem,
Make the meddling move with presence.
Sure. Why do I always use the stat that I don't really have? Swear to God, it hates me today. All dice hate me today. 6.
Yeah, these rolls are bad today.
Yeah.
He says, "Wait right here." And he leaves you in his room. And you hear him locking the door. What do you do?
Huh. What kind of door is it? I mean, is it like a card door or is it actual key?
It has a key, yeah.
Oh,
And it locks from the outside, which
Yeah.
says something about the family, I feel like.
Yeah. It's like, okay. Well, just for funsies, I mean, like, can I metal move and just kind of like riffle through his stuff?
Of course, yeah. Take another roll with composure this time, though.
Okay.
How are you feeling about being locked in?
I mean, a little disturbed, but I mean, not sure what he means by it, but I'm gonna take this opportunity to be Snoopy.
Take take the condition a little disturbed. Roll with disadvantage, please.
Okay. Composure, you said?
Composure.
Okay. Five.
5. The lights go out. And we cut to commercial. Mads, your commercial prompt. If you narrate this commercial, you will get a 10 plus instead. Your prompt is Calamity Raccoon's Good Time Pizza Farm, a Chuck E. Cheese's style family pizza restaurant.
Okay.
Think on it. We'll come back. Catherine. No, Marge, for a minute. Marge, did you get dice down on?
Yeah,
You got a miss,
we
right?
got a 4. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Woof. Catherine. Chomping on that prawn. She's like, this shellfish tastes very unusual. I hope it's not off. How completely embarrassing. I shall have to say something to Andrew about this. And you will notice a little too late, Marge, that the prawn dish she has in her hand, unclear who put it in her hand, you or Andrew, has some kind of substance at the bottom of the bowl. And Allison and she collapses on the floor. What do you do?
Well, the world might not be that much worse for that, but we'll put on a crown.
Very good, very good. Mark your crown. We'll avoid that in a moment. Let's fast forward to our date, Catherine. If you are actually going on the date with Etienne, the coffee date.
Yeah, I'll go with him.
He's a very sexy man. He's a little younger than you, but he's very very good looking, and he smells faintly of the sea.
As so many things around here do.
David, what's the name of our coffee shop again in Brindlewood Bay?
Oh gosh, I don't remember what the name of it was. I just remember certain features about it.
Yeah, what was the special? There's like a special. I can't remember it now.
Yeah, I know. It was like some kind of style, like
Yeah. It was
like
a particular...
Nantucket style.
Oh, Nantucket style. That's right. Yeah, you order your coffee Nantucket style. That's right.
I dread to think what that means.
But it's like it's really disgusting. Like the way they make the coffee, it's really gross.
Has whale oil instead of cream or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's really vile. But you're at this coffee shop. I'm sure it has a name somewhere in the setting, but I don't remember it right now.
I think we invented it for that session. So.
Yeah. But yeah, the coffee shop though is made up to look like the interior of a 19th century whaling ship. Okay. Lots of like, I think it's even made from some like reclaimed ship wood, in places. And when you walk in, the barista says, "Avast, a customer." And And Etienne is already there, and he waves you over, and he says, do you want me to order you something?
What do you recommend?
I like the latte, Nantucket style.
I'm sure that will be fine.
And he'll put in the order, and he'll come sit back down. And he says, Catherine, can I call you Catherine?
I think we already established that.
Good. You can call me Etienne. I'm really happy we're getting a chance to sit down and talk like this. The situation with the Krauses is, well, it's tragic, really. Albert was a good man. It was his money that set me up at the fish market 20 years ago. We go
And
way
you
back.
think- And what makes it so tragic?
Well,
You think something happened to him? Or was done to him, rather? Obviously, something happened to him.
well, the Krauses are famously not too fond of each other. I'm sure it was only a matter of time before.
These rich people, it's often the way.
I'm very fond
Money
of
does
Allison.
money does not bring a kind heart.
He says, well, I'm very fond of Allison. I used to know her when she was younger. She was not the most prominent philanthropist on the Eastern Seaboard when I knew her. She was just a young woman. A young woman with a tube of chapstick and a dream.
My goodness. What kind of a dream?
She wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be an actor. That's how we met, in an improv class in the city. She yes-anded her way into my heart.
But then she left you for the rich rival, is that it?
Yes. Well, the fish market was my consolation prize, I guess.
So you are paid off with a fish market.
Well, I don't like to look at it that way. Anyway, listen to me explaining a possible motive for killing Albert if I did it.
Well, I'm sure you're in no danger from the sheriff. He seems to be quite trusting of you.
Oh, and quite incompetent too, let's be real.
Well, of course, that goes without saying with most law enforcement. If they're not incompetent, they're corrupt. And if they're not that, they're both.
Yes. I myself am only bound to one law, the law of the sea.
And what does that law say?
And he takes a drink of his Nantucket style and sets it down. It says, sorry. Delicious. The law of the sea. The law of the sea says you have to follow your heart always. And that's where Allison went wrong. She stopped following her heart.
That's as good a law to live by as any I've heard.
What does
She
your
takes a
heart tell
sip of
you,
the-
Catherine?
She takes a sip of the Nantucket style latte.
It's vile.
Salty.
What does your heart tell you? He
Ah.
takes your hand, puts his hand on your hand.
I think my days of thinking with my heart are somewhat behind me.
No, you must never succumb to cynicism, Catherine. Never. This world is a hard, cruel, unjust place, but there is still room for love.
It's a little early in the evening for that, don't you think, Etienne?
Take the condition marked by Etienne. And we cut away from there for now. How many clues are we at currently? 4. But I think we're about to get another because Marge marked the crown. And but we're going to cut from commercial for now. Miri. Calamity Raccoon's Good Time Pizza Farm. Take it away.
So you see the moth-eaten wearing person wearing a moth-eaten costume of this gigantic fuzzy raccoon with a cowboy hat on its head, and behind it it's like dancing in the foreground, and then behind it you see a shot of the restaurant, and then inside kids are running around the brightly lit restaurant with the view of the arcade games and stuff behind. There's a farm motif on the walls, and in the furniture, which happened to be from the liquidation place. And you hear the voiceover going, "Here at Calamity Raccoon's Good Time Pizza Farm, we grow fun like a good time. Come for our special birthday party package. 12 kids, 3 hours, pizza and drinks available." And then you see in the background, kids are running into the darkening dining room in slow motion. Their laughing faces are turning into frightened grimaces. And then cut right back to the person wearing the moth-eaten raccoon costume, grinning into the camera. And then the voiceover goes again. "Calamity Raccoon's Good Time Pizza Farm, come have a good time with us."
There's a brief little commercial spot that's only a few seconds long of Happy Jack chopping the wood. And then we come back. Miri, you have a 10+ now. Miri, you're going through David's things and you find a letter. The letter is addressed to Albert, and it appears to be from his lawyer in Boston. And the letter says, "I just wanted to let you know that I went ahead and made that change to your will. That person will no longer be inheriting from you." That's your clue. Albert had someone cut out of the will. David comes back, unlocks the door, comes back in.
"Why did you lock me in?"
"Oh, sorry. A habit."
I mean, a little worrisome. I mean, I didn't know if you wanted to keep me overnight. I mean, I'm not really dressed for it, but okay.
He's like, "You're very funny. You have a whimsy about you that I like very much, Miri."
All she does is gesture at her boots.
He looks this. You're one of a kind. Okay, let's go to this dreadful party, shall we?
She'll take his arm if he happens to offer it, and even if he doesn't, she's going to take it anyway. So,
Indeed. Marge, um, Mrs. Krause. These prawns are horrible. Just dreadful. Take them away.
Of course, ma'am. I'll speak with Andrew about it as well.
As you step away, though, you will notice that Mrs. Krause is wearing a pair of very expensive diamond earrings. Well, it would be a pair, except one of them is missing. That's your clue. A missing diamond earring. I don't have any other further complication. I think you can just dive away to wherever you want to go. The party's getting ready to start pretty soon, and you have a tray of prawns.
I'll make my way to the like floor of the party area.
It's on the top deck on the opposite side of where the jacuzzi is, kind of close to where you came aboard the ship.
Okay.
And let's check in with Una. Una, after you're done with the body, then what?
First things first, was there any evidence of fish sucker activity?
Well, Albert does have a pretty bad wound on the back of his head.
So possibly.
It was
okay, we're not ruling it out.
It was probably a blunt force trauma situation, but it absolutely could have been the sharp proboscis of the goats or the fish sucker. That is a distinct possibility.
Okay, good. Just double checking, I think if I don't have any other thing to look into, I think Catherine already searched Etienne's office, right?
Well, not really. Catherine didn't have a chance because the lights went out. and
well, I'm here. It's after hours. I'm just gonna take a little peek.
Yeah, go for it. You can do you can dive in there and take a quick meddling move.
Just see what's happening. Maybe he's got interesting pictures of
especially because he's not around. So
it'll be fine. Meddling move with
probably composure still, because you're not supposed to be here. So
that's fair. There we go. 13.
Mm-hmm. Good. Racking up the void clues today.
Yeah, our rolls are either just complete garbage or
like really good.
like really good. Yeah.
Very good. You're poking around the office, and let me tell you what you find. Where do you search in the office? Where specifically? Where might Etienne keep something that is he doesn't want someone to find?
There's always a locked drawer.
Okay. That drawer is indeed locked. Do you have a way of getting in?
Yeah, I keep lockpick set in my snipe
Your medical
kit.
bag. Yeah, good. You pop it open. Inside, there's a stack of stock certificates.
Ooh, well, what do we have here? And she picks them up and starts shuffling through them.
A lot of them are connected to the bank that Mr. Krause worked for. As well as some real estate companies that you know for a fact operate here in town.
Well then, and Una's gonna pick up her phone and text the other three a picture of the stocks, and then a chef-looking man to indicate a French person, a fish, some money flying away emoji, and a knife.
Good luck interpreting that text. Fabulous. I think we're getting pretty close to getting you all to theorize at this point. Miri, you are on your way to the party. Marge, you're on your way to the party. Una, you can get Deputy Anderson to take you back out to the boat if you wish. Catherine, you're still on your coffee date, but you got that text. Are you going to cut it short?
Yeah, I think so. As soon as she realizes that Una's out of there, she'll make her excuses and leave the mostly untouched Nantucket style latte.
Blessedly, mercifully untouched. Fantastic. We will fast forward to everybody on the Regal Lady. Deputy Anderson brought the other two of you out there. You can all be at the cocktail party. You can be theorizing, and then you can make your accusation at the party. Let's take a 5-minute break, though. You have plenty of clues at this point. You're up to 7 clues. So you gotta, there's only one question here. Who did the murder? So all the context from the mystery is relevant and important, and the clues, but the clues, you work those in to get the bonus on the roll. So let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do the theorize. All right, let's theorize. I will say before we start the theorize that Una, you're going to make it to the yacht, but you're never going to make it to the party for reasons I will explain later related to your void clue. But for now, let's theorize. Presumably your characters are having a conversation somewhere on the boat, but we can just sort of handle the conversation out of character for now. You can add whatever context to a clue you think would make it interesting or help fit your theory. And of course, there's lots of information in the story that is not a capital C clue that can help you as well. But the best way to kick off is just to, well, let's review the clues really quickly. We have the receipts for extravagant purchases. We have a heated argument between Andrew and Albert on the night of the murder. Emily is not Albert's daughter. A wristwatch set to Pacific time. A letter from Albert's lawyer that someone's being cut out of the will. A missing diamond earring, and stock certificates connected to the bank and real estate companies, local real estate companies. Who has a theory?
Well, I'm going to suggest that Emily is Etienne's biological daughter, and Allison gave him the stock certificates, etc., because Albert found out and was going to leave her. Which could tie in.
Why'd she give Etienne the stock certificates?
Because they conspired against Albert, and she can't be left without money.
Oh, I see. She's told her.
Yeah, maybe she would be violating a prenup, right? So she's trying to take something with her.
You think the missing diamond earring is with Etienne then?
Yeah, maybe it's in his sheets. That's where it's missing.
That's pretty good. Well, we can add the context that maybe it was found in his office or somewhere.
Yeah.
Or, something like that. I like that. So Etienne has the earring. That's intriguing. Well, so that's all very interesting, but who did the murder?
Blunt force trauma to the back of the head.
It's got to be either Allison or Etienne, I feel like. But
what
I think
if it was Andrew?
Yeah, because we haven't worked in that there was an argument there, right?
Maybe Andrew got in on the plan, because then he would be able to. Maybe she promised him a raise.
Well, why were they fighting though? Like Albert and Andrew were fighting, and also that implies a certain familiarity between them too, which I think is
that's fair. Yeah.
Andrew's the butler, right? I mean,
butler.
Yeah. I wonder if he was being protective of Allison. You know, he was taking Allison's side, or Andrew was accusing him of kind of covering for her, or allowing Etienne to come and go and liaise with her, that kind of thing.
Albert confronted Andrew, thinking Andrew was the person that Allison was with. Too many A's. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep them all straight. So Andrew is kind of like the smoke screen for her and Etienne. So, and
everybody knows that the butler did it.
Right.
Oh, well, so it's interesting because if Andrew was like if Andrew is actually giving Etienne access to their home and presumably the yacht as well, maybe that's what they were fighting about. Maybe Albert was fighting with, basically like saying, you've been helping them have this affair all these years. Maybe.
Right. That he's taking Allison's side when Albert's really his employer.
And that means Etienne still could have done it because Andrew might have let Etienne on the yacht, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And if we have the idea that the wristwatch set to back to Pacific time, the idea that Albert traveled back unexpectedly from a business trip or something, if he had found out about all of this.
He wasn't supposed to be there on the yacht. Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Very
Then
interesting
Etienne
indeed.
could very well have been there.
Maybe that's what the argument was about. Maybe it was, you shouldn't have let that guy on this boat. And I'm so mad at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he was here.
Because you were supposed to tell me if anything like this was going on, and you're facilitating it instead. And I arrive back unexpectedly and find this going on.
I think the receipts for the extravagant purchases were Allison spending money, not just on beautiful, fun things for herself, but again, as another smoke screen for the stock
David's
certificates going
galleries.
missing.
But also she's just like liquidating money, right? So she's spending Albert's money on things that she can then physically be in possession of when she leaves him, right?
Exactly.
Where she'd lose access to the money.
Yeah, if you can't have the access to the money, then you have access to things.
Yeah, that's
right,
really
that you can
that's
sell.
really yeah. I mean, that's every clue accounted for. If we're saying, but are we saying Etienne did it in collusion with Allison then, or
or Allison did it and Etienne kind of covered it up by putting himself in a position to take
the body
care of the body.
Well,
yeah.
And it had to be
like
it had to be twofold. I mean, like somebody to take care of the body, and then like somebody to.
But they were conspiring for sure.
Yeah. And then get Andrew to shut up is real easy. If you say anything about this, then you're an accomplice.
And that's why Andrew probably clammed up and walked away.
Yeah.
When Marge was trying to call him out. That's interesting. That's every clue accounted for. Basically, the deal is because of the affair and Albert raising Etienne's child all these years, which was also revealed. He cut Allison out of the will. He wasn't even supposed to be on the yacht. The yacht was just Allison spending more of his money.
And like the celebratory thing. I mean, like,
right.
They expected to have a party, not necessarily with him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it's also kind of like Allison sticking the knife in, right? Because she's essentially celebrating his death, right? That's really good. And so, and the watch detail is a really good one because it means when Albert found out all this was happening, he left his trip in California to go confront them. Yeah, it's really interesting.
The letter from the Boston lawyer was found on his person?
No, David had that actually. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. But basically it was done. Like the change was
Allison was
done.
cut out. Yeah.
Okay.
Or we presume was Allison at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. It's really fantastic. Great theory. It all fits together really, really nicely. David, do you have anything to add?
I don't think so. That sounds like everything. I think it's great.
It's airtight. It's really good. Okay. Who would like to roll?
We know how I've been.
We're all got bad dice.
You know what? I've had 2 excellent rolls, so I will do it.
Okay, you have a plus
Please
1.
do.
Right.
Okay, I've made one roll and it was a middle roll. So yeah.
Plus 1, that gets me to a 9.
9. So are you all going to do the classic, like, reveal this at the party? You like tell everyone like the theory, like call them out, like Poirot style, like you go.
I mean,
they're all there.
Yeah, they're all there. Everyone's there.
Yeah.
Etienne's not there, but everybody else is, right?
Is Deputy Anderson there, or
Deputy Anderson will have taken you both there? Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Etienne is there. Maybe Etienne came with Catherine, right?
I think it's more fun if Etienne is there.
right?
Yeah.
They're all there.
He shows up with fresh fish for the party, fresh prawns.
and a little container of Nantucket lattes.
After you're done explaining how it all happened, Allison pulls a gun from her coat. Excellent work, ladies. You're a regular Miss Marble. But I'm afraid I don't look good in prison stripes. Orange is definitely not the new black. I say, in order to maintain our lifestyle, family, we have to make sure that these ladies never leave the boat alive. We kill them one by one and throw them overboard and continue as if nothing ever happened.
Oh, but you didn't think we would come here without leaving evidence behind us.
This might be, I want to point out as well, this might be a great chance to do the Gold Crown Mysteries move. The Gold Crown Mysteries move says, once per session, when any maven says, this reminds me of something that happened to Amanda Delacourt, work with the other players to describe how something that is happening in this situation reminds you all of an event from one of the Gold Crown Mysteries. At a minimum, you have to tell me the name of the book, the problem Amanda found herself in that's similar to what you're experiencing, and how Amanda got out of it. And it gives you an automatic 12 plus on a roll, or it allows you to state something true about the fiction.
I have a pitch for what the situation is, but it kind of is, my character can't actually be the one who says the things.
Okay.
My pitch is that in the book, somebody else has solved the mystery, but Amanda Delacourt is disguised as the help. And when they're getting confronted, then she is able to save them from the person who's going to attack them.
With the tray of prawns.
Right. I'm just standing there looking like the help with the tray of prawns, as like she has pulled a gun on y'all, and I'm like shaking, like I need to do something.
Also,
here.
Una, you're not there. It's just Mary, Catherine, and Marge.
Yeah, I mean, I can do it. It's like, this reminds me of something that happened in an Amanda Delacourt mystery. And then
what was the name of the mystery?
Okay.
Everybody can contribute here.
Okay. Yeah. The Tale of the Poisoned Prawns.
Perfect. You just see Marge with prawns. And it reminds you of that particular book.
Yes.
You've already described the situation. The situation was basically that Amanda was disguised as a staff member, right? And was able to, do the thing. If everyone agrees with this outcome, basically, Marge, you can just tell me how you subdue Mrs. Krause.
Yeah, Miri says it, and I'm like, of course. And then I slide my hand over to the other side, and I just batters up with the whole thing of prawns. I hit Amanda. Prawns go flying and hit Etienne, and it knocks the gun loose. It's one of those small pearly bits. It gets lost in all of the prawns and trays. And we can...
At the end, as Deputy Anderson is arresting Allison and Etienne looks at you, Catherine, and says, Catherine, my love, I meant everything I said about the sea and my heart.
Miri looks over at Catherine and goes, ooh, you lucky duck.
A future felon is falling in love with you.
And Catherine turns to Una and says, the things I have to do to provide a distraction for you, my dear.
Una's not there.
Oh, that's right. In her mind, she says that.
Yes. The mystery is resolved. But first, Una, you never made it to the party. because you started hearing a noise on the yacht. A noise coming from deep within the yacht. You think it's probably the engine room at first. It's a loud, grinding, droning noise. But then it starts to change. Or perhaps you just start to hear it better. But you realize that the sound is not the engine room at all. It's a group of people in the belly of the boat chanting. As you go down further, following the noise, you hear in the darkness, embrace the void. And that will conclude our session. Let's do our end of session questions. Everyone's getting credit for the first one because you did solve the mystery of what happened to Albert Krauss. But let's go character by character now, going in the order of the sheet. Una, did you share your wisdom with a young person?
Nope. I talked to basically nobody except
to a
for
fish.
shadowy figure and a fish. Yeah.
Did you show someone that you've, quote, still got it?
I mean, I do still got it, but I didn't actually. Well, I guess I could kind of show the shadowy person, but I think I showed them is more Una's interpretation of what happened.
I like it. I'm into it. You can take it. Marge, did you secretly undermine the authority of a local official? You all did that today because you weren't supposed to solve the mystery. But did you show someone that you've still got it?
I think so. I laid the people out with the tray of
true.
prawns.
Yeah, that's true. The tray of prawns. Very good. Mark and XP. Catherine, did you share a memory of a late family member? You're muted, Rob.
Yeah, I made an extremely brief reference to my late husband, but to the policeman at the beginning, I think. But
I recall it.
Yeah,
I'll take it. Did you share your wisdom with a young person?
No.
Miri, did you show someone that you've still got it?
I would say so. I mean, like, I was like flirting the hell out of like Deputy Anderson and
oh,
David,
that's true.
so.
Yeah, and also you were kind of David. You were kind of hipping with it with David. Did you behave like a woman half your age? Again, probably with David, I think.
Yep.
Good. Let's do stars and wishes. Stars, things you enjoyed. Wishes, things you hope to see next week.
Stars for Jason. My God, I mean, all the characters were wonderful, and I mean, you know, the variation between Etienne and all the kids and Allison, who has a completely dreadful demeanor. And it was just wonderful to watch and listen to.
I was really happy.
So thank you.
You're welcome. I was really happy that because I've played with you all so much, but it's only been this like dark, scary stuff, you know? I was really happy that I was able to like kind of do like comedic GMing for you. That was really enjoyable with a little bit of darkness. But,
yeah. No, but I mean, it was so enjoyable, and I mean, you don't really laugh a lot in the between, but I was so happy to laugh so much today. It was great. So stars for that. And then I love our characters. I mean, like, you know, everybody's like, you know, their own little old lady. So it's just so cute. And well, I mean, I love Marge. I mean, between Miri's, like, you know, pot smoking and Marge's chain smoking, this is gonna be a great misty, foggy Brindlewood Bay. So yeah, wish more of this, please. More of this.
Yeah, this was fun between the iconic shrimp and cigarettes and the accent of I was trying to place like who Alison Krauss reminds me of, and I
I'm doing Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek all the way.
Okay, yeah, I thought that's what it was, but yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen
We're
that
trying
show a ton,
to.
but yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was fun to play something a little more on the lighthearted end, and seeing everyone kind of play up to that was fun, and I really enjoyed particular stars, I think, for the 2 commercial breaks, and also for the cozy vignettes at the beginning, where we kind of started off with Miri in the van, and then everyone kind of made that a through line of all
The
their
van was
scenes.
the whole, yeah, that was really
yeah,
good.
that was
a star
kind of,
for me
it was
too,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's like you can imagine that being like the credit sequence of the show where like the van leads you around the various characters kind of thing. And yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I loved it. Star for me. I enjoyed all the characters quite a lot. They were all very enjoyable, and I like the kind of mix of tones with the characters. I like Una being the weird one. I like Catherine being like the love interest one. I like Marge being well, honestly, Marge and Miri being kind of like the like in Marge's case, definitely more of like the funnier one, and Miri being like almost like the sympathetic one, right? Like, which I thought was really, really interesting. Yeah, they were all just great characters. It's really fun to play, to bounce the side characters off of them, and or the suspects in this game, is what they're called, the suspects off of them. And yeah, I just had a really, really, really good time. Everybody did a great job with the cozy vignettes. Oh, do we have any crowns that have to get narrated?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, we can do that before we can do that before we're done, before we leave. And yeah, just overall, just really, really, really fantastic, really fun, fun session. And we went over time, but I'm happy we finished the mystery too. So.
Stars from me for all of these characters. They're all so much fun and really different, very different types of characters and types of people to play. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how the different like pairings of people work out, how everybody works together to solve mysteries. The theorizing was really fun. I always love a theorizing stage of
Theorize was
these
really
mysteries.
good. Yeah, it was really, really solid.
I loved all the little jokes that were happening in the game and in the chat that didn't make it into the game. Like the chat right now is just full of emojis. It's very silly. The references to like other games, bringing Marge back. Marge is wonderful. This whole thing was a really, really fun experience. So thank you all for, making me laugh so hard that my neighbors probably think I'm bonkers.
Yeah, I think one wish I'll have is like, if we get to play again, I want to kind of get to explore my character a bit more, because I think my perception of who she is kind of came together through the course of it. And yeah, it'll be fun to explore that further in future.
David,
I think my stars are for all of the characters that Jason got to play and like playing them to the nines. Like, it just showed how much this is like your game, that you've done this scenario and like are so comfortable with all of the characters that it's easy to just like do a different one for each one of them. It's like it's really good GMing and really a great like demo of this particular mystery, and really just really, really fun. I've gotten the opportunity to do this mystery a few times now, and every time it's different. Every time the theory is different, and it's so much fun. It was great to get to play it with the Shadow Society, so that was a big star for me. Get to see everybody's take on a murder maven, especially folks who like haven't gotten to play just a ton of Brindlewood Bay yet, but it's so much fun, and it was a lot of fun to do a lighter toned thing with you all. It was just a blast.
I'm going to throw in another star for Jason for getting not one, but two choking situations in. That's classic Jason. And it was just so funny the second time. I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
Oh, and star for all the gameplay that we got to do. I mean, like, we used practically everything, I think.
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Gold
we haven't done
Crown
Cozy
move.
Move yet, because that doesn't make a lot of sense in the first session. But yeah, you're right. We got pretty close. I would have liked to have seen Marge's Maven move, but I don't. But I think I don't think there was really like an easy place to do it. So I think it was it makes sense it didn't come out, but I would have liked to have seen it as well.
Right. But I mean, like, for the most part, everything else, I mean, like, we did the cut to the commercial. We, are going to just do Crown of the Queen or whatever. And then, we got to do the Amanda Delacourt, the Gold Crown Mysteries move. So, I mean, like, that was awesome. So, yeah, definite stars for that.
Yeah, we got to see a lot of it. My wish for next week is I do want to see the first cozy moves. I think that would be fun to see how you clear some of these conditions. I do want to see the. I was going to say Michael Knight, but actually we did see the Michael Knight move, just not in the context of a move. We just saw it like as like kind of fun story stuff. But I do think we'll have a chance to see Frank Columbo and Fox Mulder next week as well. And so that'll be fun. And I'm also, as another star, the the cryptid thing is, given the setting, the cryptid thing is deeply ironic, right? Because like the whole founding of the town is like a cryptid story, essentially, right? Which I just love that. I think it's a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah, my wish is to fire off my Maven move because I think that's a lot of fun.
You got a
Can't
huge
wait.
bonus today. It was like +3 at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be powerful. It's going to
Yeah.
be powerful next go. It's going to be great.
Oh no, it only racks up per mystery though. So
Oh, it's per
you
mystery.
gotta get more
Oh,
void
dang it.
clues. Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah. But yeah. That's okay though, because the +1 is still a lot, right? So, especially if you're rolling advantage. Any other stars or wishes?
Did you want me to wait until next week for the?
No, we can do
crown?
the crown now if everybody has a minute. Who does anybody else have a crown that they have to like do?
No, I do have a really
I-
quick star again for David for setting up the murder board. Yay!
Yes.
We've got lines now.
Yay, I love it. Roll 20. Go get it, folks. Does anybody else have a crown to do? Or is it just Mads?
I have one, but I'm doing the shadow in the garden as well.
Okay, so we don't need to see those till next week then, because there's nothing you have to do for those. So I think it's just you, Mary. Take it away. What's the prompt, and then narrate it.
Okay. A flashback showing how you're an imperfect mother. So, after the mystery is done and we're all back home at our homes, Miri takes out the photo album, and she kind of looks through it and looks through some of the older pictures of where we were taking our last trips together before Ethan went off to school. She's going like that far back and realizing that, I mean, in all of the pictures, I mean, it's been pretty much her concentrating on different things on the trips, or maybe there was conferences that she went to during these travel trips, so it wasn't necessarily always about family vacations. And she could see a lot in the pictures that Terry and Ethan were together, like arm in arm, shoulder, just, arms around each other's shoulders. And then she was kind of off, like looking out, doing something else. And each time that she's looking at this, she realizes that, I mean, Ethan was drawing away from her already. And then he went off to school, and he wanted to be as far away from us, me and Terry, as much as possible, and went to school in the Midwest, and then decided to move there permanently. We would visit him, and he married his French girl and had the grandkids, but he never really came back to visit when we settled in Boston and Brindlewood Bay. And aside from coming back for Terry's funeral, Ethan never really came back to visit. And in a way, Mary's okay with that.
Very nice. Thank you. Well, with all that said, I will see you all next week for part 2.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.